well. I thought you were strictly just on set.
Oh, right. You didn't research. You don't research your guests.
Well, you know what? That was Nick Branistetter, my Facebook Live guy, was supposed to do that, and he dropped the ball on that.
No problem. I'm happy to tell you all about it.
Don't throw Nick under the bus.
For Nick, the bus goes by every 5 minutes. That's an 18-wheeler coming down the road. No, don't say anything, Nick. That's right. But that's interesting. That is fantastic. Well, tell me, first off, now, it's a crazy business, and of course, I know you just through the business and stuff. Tell me, you've got an interesting history because you are a guy who, and we talk a lot about this whenever we work together, about reinventing yourself, about finding the next new thing for you and your career.
Yeah.
Tell me about your start. How did you get into the business?
Well, I'll get into that as soon as I congratulate you for, all your social media.
You congratulate me for being a social media whore?
Yes. I mean, I've known you
that.
for so long, pre-social media, actually.
Yeah.
And so I saw you grab this technology and take it and run with it. And now every time I talk to you, you're doing something new. Even this radio show and just everything that you've done on social media. And you're just, it's really outstanding to watch you. I'm not into it nearly as much as you, but you've turned it into very successful.
Bernie is the king
things.
of all social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Aaron just booked himself his second spot on the show. I can tell you that
Excellent.
right now. Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome.
That is very kind. And, we have talked, when we have talked about it, we have talked a lot about what's needed in that. And I'm just a real big believer. I really haven't done any show like on social media. And I mean, we're Facebook Live here, which is I think, really important to a show like this. And but it's really important, and you know that too. I appreciate that, and that's coming from somebody who's known me for a long time, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So my beginning, I grew up in Northern California in Eureka, a very small forestry and fishing city in...
Did you ever wake up in the morning and go, Eureka?
No. When I left...
He said it quite a bit when he left.
Yeah. Eureka.
But I loved Eureka and all my friends up there and everything. I went to College of the Redwoods because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then...
Did you have a major?
I did not. I was just doing general ed and trying to get by, find my way. I had no idea where to go, or what options were available to me. So when I was graduating with my GE, I went to my counselor and took some aptitude tests and things like that. And she told me that I placed well, that I should be in entertainment. And she told me about Cal State Fullerton down here in Fullerton, California, that they had a really good program and I could afford it. And so that's where I ended up coming.
When she told you should be in entertainment, what went through your mind at that? Song and dance man? Or?
Yeah, well, I was excited about the idea because, no one in my family has ever been in this industry. So I had no really idea, but I always loved TV and commercials.
Sure.
And, I never did any acting. I never did any theater in high school or anything like that. So I never took any theater classes in college either. So it kind of came out of the blue, although in my heart, it made sense. I just felt like, okay, yeah.
That when she said that connected
right,
with you.
Exactly.
Great.
And so, not to digress a little bit, but now I find it very important to go to like my son's schools and tell all the kids about all the industry jobs that are available and things that they don't think about, because it's all like, oh, I want to be a firefighter or a lawyer or a soldier.
I say it all the time. It's the the biggest hidden industry in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, you go to the movies and you have to sit there for 5 minutes to see all the names as fast as they can roll. All those names are people making money doing what they love.
In our industry.
And so I just think that so many people think it's out of reach, but it's really not. So, it's really important. So then I came to Cal State Fullerton and had a mission. I'm going to be in the entertainment industry. How do I do that? Had no idea. So I was a radio, TV, film major for the first year, and then I took a theater class and wanted to, and anyways, I double majored in theater. And theater was really my love at that point for the people that I met, all my teachers and instructors, and it was much more hands-on than a radio, TV, film program that was very technical and,
a lot of like tech classes and stuff and FCC regulations, that type of thing. Yeah.
And even the editing and camera, which personally I'm not really into.
Right.
And I know that you are,
Oh, I'm
in a
not into.
way.
Yeah, that's the misnomer about me. I'm just lighting.
Right.
So I'm not
Get
camera
Nick to
editing.
do a shot over here. This
Right.
is what he was doing. All this broadcast board and everything here.
Yeah,
This is all the stuff
Yeah,
over here.
and sound and editing, and I have great editor friends, but I don't know how they do it. It's not my deal.
It's a
But
different
there's thing
personality.
for everybody,
Yeah.
So that's why theater really attracted me. So I was taking directing classes and makeup classes and lighting and costuming and all that. And my best teacher ever, Abel Zabayos, he was the creator of Not Scary Farm, for anybody out there that knows of
Not Scary Farm.
Yes.
Sure. That's a big deal in the amusement park business. They sort of defined Halloween for amusement
Absolutely.
parks.
Around the world now.
Yes.
I mean, it spread from
They
Buena
influenced
Park.
Disney, which is kind of the opposite of what usually happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And Universal Studios. And,
Yes.
I mean, it's gone. I've done work in Korea even they don't even celebrate Halloween, and they wanted to do an event over there.
Wow, that's interesting.
But so I took makeup classes from him, theatrical makeup and special effects makeup. So he got me an internship with Michael Burnett Productions. He did Pumpkinhead and did a lot of mummy molds and things like that. So his shop was up in Sun Valley, and I worked up there for a long time.
Did you live up in Los Angeles then?
I always lived in Fullerton, Anaheim area.
So commute back and forth.
It was
That's
horrible.
brutal. That's brutal.
It was so brutal, and so that didn't last too long. I think I did that for about 6 months. But in addition, I was working at Not Scary Farm seasonally and doing monster makeup.
Give me a year. What years
This
were
was in the. Do I have to? Do we have to talk about years? It was in the 90s.
Okay.
Back in the 90s.
Well, don't say it like that. It was in the 90s.
in the roaring 90s. But that was, I worked, so I quit doing the special effects stuff because of the chemicals, and it was hot, and the drive. All those shops are up in Sun Valley.
Right.
And again, I value the people that do that, the creative sculptors, and all the people up there are just wonderful artists. But it wasn't for me.
And tell me a little bit about the work you did when you did that work too, because were you doing like wounds or just like zombies or what?
At Not Scary Farm?
Yeah.
Not Scary Farm, I was sculpting masks, and then we would make molds, because that's what I was doing at Michael Burnett, is just mold making, just punching out foam molds. So, at Not Scary Farm, we would make molds, and then we would prep the monsters and put full face appliances on them and airbrush them.
Wow.
So gory, bloody, just horrible. Loved it for a little while. And then from there, I ended up getting a job full time there as the park decorator and the prop person at that park.
Oh, wow.
So then I was preparing all the mazes in addition to doing the makeup, because the makeup was seasonal. So there was more work outside.
If you were
that.
actually doing scenes
Exactly.
and decorating props.
Working with the construction crews that built the mazes, and then I
Sure.
would go in and decorate the mazes with the gnarliest.
What did you think about your life at that time? Did you think, how did I get here? How am I doing this? From Eureka.
And how long will it last?
And that's what we all think about.
Right.
That's what we all think about.
Exactly. But
So-
no, it was always interesting. Like it's still, from that moment to this day, all these years later, I still wake up and go like, how did this road weave around to these being at such a cool place, like in those monster
Yeah.
mazes, and then seeing all the people come through
Yeah.
and just go crazy
And enjoy
on
it.
this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really where it hits home, and you're just like,
That's
feel
awesome.
really good
That's
about what
awesome.
you've done.
I always say this is the best industry in the world for the short attention span. Because
Absolutely.
after about an hour, you're doing something else usually.
Yes.
There's a new thing. So, okay, so you did Not Scary Farm. Where did that take you to?
Well, then I started working there for a while, doing all the park things, so the seasonal things at the park. And then I was offered an opportunity at South Coast Repertory Theater, which is near where your station is down here. And they offered me the prop shopper position. So I was
Describe that
tasked with spending $2 million a year to go out and buy and purchase and assist make and fabricate all the props and set dressing for all the shows at South
for me.
Coast
Wow.
Repertory
How
Theater.
old were you then?
I was 30, I think just turned 30, something like that.
Just turned 30, and now you've got a $2 million a year budget.
Yes.
And the show is dependent on your look.
Absolutely.
And your creativity.
And we were meeting bi-coastal directors also that were working in theater. They were working in television. Some of them were doing films.
Okay.
And they were working in New York. And that was actually the first exposure I got to a bigger world, you know, and real professional people.
Yeah.
One of the contacts I met there was a gentleman named John Iacovelli. Some of your listeners may know him. He designed Babylon 5, Resurrection Boulevard, and a lot of other television events and a lot of theater. So he's worked at every theater around here in Orange County and LA, Pasadena Playhouse, Laguna Playhouse, like all those, La Mirada Theater.
Okay. So he's done a lot, and that was somebody you met who was sort of at the top of his game at the time, correct?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. And so, after meeting him and a slew of other really talented directors, they kind of pushed me and said, hey, you available? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I had a full-time job at South Coast Rep, not making that great of money now when I look back on it. But, it was enough, and it was a legit job,
Yeah.
So it was scary to think about going independent and freelance. That
steady paycheck was a real hook, right?
Oh, absolutely. Which it is for most people, I would think.
Sure.
That really is where you dive off into the pool of the abyss.
Yes.
I mean, you really just do not know where your next check, where you're going to get any money at all, and you're just for hire out there.
It's the deep
whatever.
end. You're in the deep end.
Yeah,
then.
but by that point, I knew beauty makeup, special effects makeup. I knew how to decorate sets. I was a prop shopper.
And let me know, what was your mindset of it? Because that is such a big thing, and that's something that every freelancer has gone through, is the steady paycheck to going freelancer. What was it that made you make that leap? What was such a strong pull to make you make that leap?
Well, it wasn't my talent at first, I'll tell you that, because no one ever thinks they're as talented as they may be, and if they do,
that is
they're
right.
Not the people I want to be around,
They always underestimate themselves. We all do.
Yeah, but what did it was enough directors. I felt like I finally had a pool of 3 or 4 people that I knew were doing things that could keep me busy, and that's what pushed me over the edge. So I knew that I had 3 people, 4 people, 5 people that are going to hire me, and the rates were a lot better, and that's what did it.
So you knew the people who could hire you, and if you got those rates, you didn't need to work as much as you were working to make the same amount and meet your bills, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that I did my talent, was aware of my talent. I mean, I could do beauty makeup. I could do monster makeup. I could do props and set dressing. I could do carpentry. So and I put all that on my resume, and I was blasting it out there. So if you need something,
We have a Twitter question here. Somebody wanted to know, how did you learn how to do makeup? How did you said you just stumbled into this kind of?
Yeah, Cal State Fullerton, theater department.
So your education, college education.
Exactly, for special effects makeup. But then, you do enough makeup, you can start doing beauty makeup, and that's what I was experimenting at Not Scary Farm with some of the half-face monsters that had beauty makeup on one side, and it just was like just playing around with different things. And then, people say, hey, can you do this? It's like, yes, I can.
So you had your education, and then you had probably the best laboratory in the world,
right,
to execute with. That's awesome.
And then
awesome.
when you do go freelance finally, and you're out in there, and someone asks you, hey, can you do makeup on this thing? And even if you don't have a lot of experience, I said yes, absolutely, and then got more makeup jobs.
What is the first answer? Can you do this job? Yes.
And then research the hell out of it right away. You never want to go in cold.
Yes,
you got to research.
Absolutely, and know your stuff. I think most of us on this level, when we get into it, of course, it's one thing when you get thrown into the fire when you're younger or starting out. Yes, you have it's a little more tense. Now we know where to find the solutions. I know your probably abilities to research and everything are tenfold over what it was then.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's funny because recently I was thinking back, because I've kept working all this time, and I have had a couple jobs recently that used to they would have taken me like 2 or 3 days, and now I can do in just a few hours by making a few calls to the people that I know, and I need this, and this, and I mean, it's pretty amazing your research library now after all these years. I mean, the most random things, like anything you could throw at me right now, I guarantee you I could find or in a very short amount of time.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is totally awesome.
And then I'm thinking, man, money, it's easier money now because I can make the same amount of money and not have to work as hard.
Yeah.
That's what experience does for
that's,
you.
That's the payoff.
Can I ask my own question here? How did you learn set construction? I know you did some of this in college too, but construction's a whole different ball game than makeup.
Yes, and I wouldn't say that I would be independently a set carpenter, but working at Not Scary Farm and having the team build the walls, and you're jumping in and helping in theater and building sets in theater. So I was aware of the basics, and so you always you kind of know a little bit about everything.
Yeah,
like a little bit about grip, a little bit about electrics,
yes,
a little bit about camera.
Exactly, you know lighting, you know camera, you know grip, because you're involved in all those things on set. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You don't have to be the expert. You have to know how to communicate what you want and where to find the expert.
Yes.
That is the kicker.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little break here pretty quick, and when we come back, I want to hear where that took you from there. Let us know then, after you started out and you started establishing yourself with these new people, how the directions that your career took you.
Fantastic places.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bernie.
All right, talk to you soon.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret, with 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
When you use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express, the rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
All right, we're back at Bernie's Applebox, and who are you sitting on the Applebox with?
We are here with the master, set master, Aaron King, my good friend, and we just covered how he got in the business, what you did, and after working for a paycheck for a long time, you went freelance. And that started working out. So tell me about your years as you started as a freelancer. Tell me a lot of ups and downs.
There weren't a lot of downs, really, except when I wasn't working, which wasn't very often. I'd get a job that would go for a couple weeks. I'd be off for a couple days. I'd get another job, and the days off just kind of perfectly coincided with my life, and I was able to plan things, and I was making money, and I was doing very random things. Like I'd get a call for makeup, I'd get a call for prop shopping, set decoration, all that. And so it was different.
So you were
time.
using all of your skills
Absolutely.
at that time, and you'd sure I can do that.
Yep.
Sure I can do
Yep.
that. Yeah, which I think is so important for people in our industry is because we're problem solvers. We know how to make it happen.
Absolutely.
That is the thing. So at this time, and let me ask you, wasn't going to immediately ask you this, but tell me about your personal life. Were you married then?
Yes, I met my wife at Cal State Fullerton. I had my son was born in 2004. So my first company I developed in '98, I believe, and started out as like Crown Entertainment because my last name's King, and I was like, this is gonna be cute.
Very creative. Very creative.
That's gone.
Yeah.
And then it was You've Got It Productions, which was another horrible name. And then now it's Concept Design Group, which I've had for a while.
That's
now.
a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
With a K, though, it has to be.
Oh, yeah. You're a little different.
Right.
Little different. So during the time, and let me ask you this, because I think this is important for a lot of freelancers, does your wife work?
She's a chiropractor.
She's a chiropractor.
Now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Was she going to school
She
then?
was going to school, so
Okay.
I was supporting us.
You were the main income. You were the main income. Tell me about that pressure. Did you really feel like, boy, every day I got to have something going on? Or was it easier for you? Building that career all the time, was it coming in the door? Was the phone ringing all the time?
It's funny because the phone was ringing, and when the phone wasn't ringing, I vacillated between, oh my God, panic, like it's not working, I'm never going to get another job again, to everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to be fine. And I don't know what made me, and I still do that. It's still one of those things.
Oh,
where,
no, you
know, because I never have known what's ahead more than 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
That's the max.
3-4 weeks maybe. Something might be coming up, but it doesn't get locked in until like 3 or 4 weeks because the creative has to be developed. The producers there's a lot to the picture that has to happen before they commit to me.
Right.
And so, but after 20 odd years you can look back at that pattern and be pretty confident that you're going to make it and the phone will ring. But it is a very strange feeling of you are dependent on that phone ringing.
Oh, yeah. As I like to say, once I get done with the job, I don't have another thing for the rest of my life right now until the phone rings again.
And that's what makes every job important.
Yeah. And I think, a really good saying that I've heard is like the healthiest fish in the aquarium are ones with a predator in the tank. And I think that lack of work is our predator.
Yes.
And it keeps you on your toes. You can't slip. You have to give great customer service.
Yep.
You have to be out there knowing your stuff. You can't just fake it, And I think that's really a good thing for us as people. Not just an employee or a worker, but as people, it makes us better.
I think so, yes. And, the people who are good personalities. Personality goes a long way. I'd rather have somebody who didn't know as much about something and be delight to work with than someone who knew it all and was a pain in the ass.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute because I'm a really big believer that this is a personality-driven business.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think the personalities find their spots in the different facade or landscape of our industry. If you like to be a little more isolated, work alone, you're probably an editor. You know what I mean? If you're like a lot of members of my family who boss everybody around, you're probably a director.
Right, or a money man.
Or a money man, or a money man. But, it's that ability to absorb panic. It's that ability to come up with an answer when somebody lays something on you weren't expecting. It's the ability to take a hard right or left turn from something you're already planning. I think those traits in your personality really what make you successful in this business. And
one of my things
easy.
was to, are you a problem solver or a problem maker?
Yeah.
And it really is, you are either one or the other.
Yes.
Either you talk a bunch of stuff behind the scenes, you gossip, and you're just like making problems everywhere. Everywhere you see is like a problem, or you're constantly like, oh, this could be solved, this could be solved, this could be solved. And my whole job is really a problem solver. You need something, we need to build the set, we need to dress the set, we need to do this job. And that's my job, to find a way to bring the creatives' dream to manifestation, basically.
Yes, you're bringing their visualization to life.
And that's in that's in somebody's head, and
Yeah.
I have to take that and make it real.
Make it physical on
Right.
the table.
So one thing I didn't tell you about is the Emmy Award, because
Okay.
I want to come back to the Emmy Award
Sure.
that I got in 2001. So here I am bouncing around all over, job to job to job. Worked at the Cannes Film Festival on a job.
Oh, that's
worked
cool.
in Korea. I worked in Paris. I was traveling basically around the world, around the country, to all different things, just the most random things. I worked at E-Networks for a long time doing one-on-one setup interviews for all the award shows. Just met a tremendous amount of people, and just it kept expanding the things that I knew how to do. And in 2001, John Iacovelli, which I reminded you of, we
Yes.
worked at McCoy Rigby Entertainment at the La Mirada Theater for Peter Pan starring Kathy Rigby, and that ended up winning an Emmy Award.
Wow.
Because once that show went down, A&E shot it. We had to redesign it for a 3-camera setup so it can air on A&E, and it was remarkable. That's when fax machines were still there, and I think we were on the way to go on vacation, and a fax came in. It said, "You were nominated for an Emmy," and that was like almost a year
reading
earlier.
that, seeing your name
this
on that.
joke. I
Yeah.
threw that up and threw it right down like, this is a joke, because that job was like 50 jobs ago.
Right.
Because things are just moving along
Sure.
so fast, and you're like,
Sure.
wait, I have to even remember that job,
Oh, that's
Anyways,
incredible.
it was an incredible experience. So we went up to the Emmys and got to get up and talk, and I was with John. We both won Emmy Awards, and that was 2001. And so that's been a credential of a lifetime. I mean, really, that old story, I don't know which actor did it, but somebody came in and slammed the Emmy on the desk and wanted more money or something. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I've never
Was that
quite
how you
had to
did it?
do
Is
that.
that
I
how you
haven't
did
quite had to do that, but I have had to. People that were on the fence about hiring me, I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Some people say you should make more deal about it.
Yeah.
I like to tell people when the time is right, so I really know that they respect
See,
me
I don't
already.
think you've ever told me that. I don't think you've ever
haven't?
told me that. Either that or my,
Maybe not.
My short-term memory's kicking
Yeah.
in again. But you know what? It's funny because that is such a huge thing.
Right.
But I know when we're on set, it's not about our careers, right? We're just a couple guys on set trying to fix the problem.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's what we do. We're not talking ourselves up. We're not doing it. But we both recognized, like I recognized you, that guy's a pro.
right.
If anybody asks me about a set guy, it's going to be Aaron.
Thank you.
It's a
I
no-brainer.
appreciate that a lot, and I do work real hard, and
You do.
I'm the one that's even as I've advanced and become the art director and then the production designer, and you have a team of people with you under you. I've had up to 30 people working for me.
Wow.
From all the set carpenters, the scenic painters.
Okay, let's talk about that because that's something I think a lot of people don't get in our industry too, and I know it's something that I do. I work with crews all the time. How do you manage? How do you organize that? Because you're a guy I know who can be on set just by yourself making it happen on a small job, but then you go to one where you've got 30 people. That's a lot of management now. What is your approach to a job like that?
Well, it starts out at what the overall scope is, and so it starts with the set. You have to order materials, you have to have it built. So the set construction guys and the scenic artists are the first line of defense, basically. While they're doing that, you have decorated it, shopped it, or you need shoppers to go out and procure all the props or rent them from a vast multiple array of prop shop rental places. And if they're real random pieces, you go to a place and ask them if you can rent them. They may not be a rental until you ask.
Is that right?
Absolutely,
So it's just somebody
yes.
say, hey, I'd like to rent that for me for a show I'm doing.
This is so expensive. How would you like to just let me borrow that and have me pay you a significant amount of money and give it back to you, and then you can resell it again,
Right.
And they do that all the time,
Wow.
But you have to ask, and
Yeah. And you have to find it.
you have to find it,
Yeah.
So then, there's coordinators that help on big jobs like that, art department coordinators that help with your insurance your certificate of insurances
Sure.
and all your deposits.
Very important.
And dealing
Very
with the
important.
money and petty cash, because you have a lot of cash is in your department floating around to the different people. You need drivers to drive the trucks.
Okay, so just because this is a territory that I'm involved in too. Say you get the job, and we'll go about what you ask or think about when you get a job in just a moment. But you get the job. What are your requirements when somebody calls you for a job? You have to have a certificate of insurance. You have to have what, credit card application? Do you give that to them?
Credit card authorization forms and things.
Okay.
Now, my company, Concept Design Group, is unique. Like if I'm doing a large union job, because I'm in Local 800, but I do other things too, then it goes all through the production company.
Right.
So the production company has to set up
covered.
the accounts, and they have to do all that. But what I found is I have all that myself through Concept Design Group, which is very appealing to small production companies, which are all my buddies, basically, that I've worked with a long time from San Diego to LA, and it's one-stop shop for me. So it's like you know, I use my certificate of insurance, and
you're making it all happen
I get
for them.
reimbursed.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's I just do all the crew, all the labor. I cover the workers'
and then
comp.
So workers' comp, you do all that, and you charge for that, right? You charge a percentage.
But it's way easier for them. I mean, it's
much
such a
easier.
headache. They have to have at least a full-time person there managing all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, where I do it for them as a one-stop thing, which is very unique.
It's
not done, but it really, you know, has made me invaluable to a lot of small production companies.
You're a go-to at that point.
Yeah.
You're a definite go-to at that point. So you handle the bigger jobs, you do all that, so you're handling the whole thing for them. So at that point, you're really management almost. You're producing the set. You know, you're doing all that. Let me ask you this. Let's talk about the phone call. Somebody calls you up, and it's Concept Design, and they want a thing like that. In other words, they want you to run the whole show. First of all, creatively, what do you need to know?
Usually they have storyboards, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
Or they have a concept, which is less wonderful because you already know going into it, they don't have
they're looking
stuff
for
together.
an idea. Yeah.
And what you present is never going to be the right idea necessarily to them. You know, it's kind of like you just know that if they have everything together and they have their storyboards and they know exactly what they want, that job's going to be a fun job.
Yeah.
If they don't know and everybody's waffling, you're like, oh my God, like this is going to be horrible. And it usually is.
It goes from the 1890s to the 1990s overnight.
Exactly.
Right?
And the other thing is budget. Like, how much do you have? You know, you guys break this down. The creatives break this down. You know how much you have for grip. You know how much you have for art department.
Right.
So don't make me bid on it, because that's just a whole lot of work. And that's the same stuff that happens in the interior design phase too, which I hope we have time to talk about. But if not, we'll have to come back again.
Sure.
But, what's your budget?
Yeah.
And if they can't at least give me a range, then it's a red flag. It's like, okay, this is going to be a lot of work, and hopefully it works out. You know, because I'll come back and they'll say it's too much money. And
let me ask you on that. When you're hearing that, and I hear the same thing, you know, when do you say no? When do you just say, look, it's probably not going to work out for me. This probably is not my thing, you know.
You know, Bernie, that's something I'm still trying to work on, saying no. I know when it's not going to go well, and I know when I'm not going to have fun, but I still I think I'm getting better. But, you know, it's just you get a gut feeling. You've talked to so many people, and the phone calls go the same way, and you just know if the people above you know what they're doing, it's going to be fun. Just like when I know what I'm doing and I'm clear with my marching orders, the people that work for me are going to have fun.
Exactly.
If you don't know what's going on, you're waiting for those guys to tell you, and everything's clogged up.
And the things change right in the middle of the shoot.
Gets frustrated, and then people get pissed off. And see, that's no way to work for anybody.
Right. And that's why you have to keep your cool on set, you know, and coming back to that, it's who do you want to spend 10 hours with a day?
You know, spend more time with them than your family.
You sure do.
On a big shoot.
You sure do. Yeah, absolutely. So you do that. And I, too, let me just say this, that I have gotten better about saying no, you know, but it usually has to do with money. Usually what I do is price them out, to be honest with you. I just say, okay, we've gone this far. Here's what it is. This is what it's going to cost if you want to do it. You know, another thing that you brought up that struck a chord with me is when you talked about telling about the Emmy if they're trying to qualify you. I've quit the qualifying game.
Right.
If you think for whatever reason I am not able to do your job, with me owning 3 grip and lighting companies and having written a book on the subject of running the business, I'm not your guy. You need to go find that person you are more comfortable with,
Right.
you know, and it's okay to say no. And if you can want to call back, that's okay too.
It is okay
Yeah.
to say no. And, you know, I think that when you grow up, like I did on my own, freelancing,
Yes.
you get so used to just saying yes to every single thing.
Yep.
And then you automatically one day arrive at like some type of a destination of like the CEO of your successful
Right.
company or an Emmy winner. And it's almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger always thinking he's skinny. You know, it really is like a weird thing that you have to overcome.
He still thinks he's built. Yeah.
He thinks he's skinny inside there. I've heard. You know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I have the same problem,
Yeah,
by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
You're looking.
But you're
good.
still skinny. You're still skinny though, Aaron. You're all good
I'll
there.
always be skinny.
Yeah, you know, it's really a funny thing. So going back and looking at it, you've got your clients. People are calling you. What size of jobs are you generally getting today? I know because we've gone through, I think, different periods in our life and our economy, and we're in Orange County too, and I think that's a different thing. I like to say we are very lucky because we live next to Hollywood, but we are not Hollywood.
Right.
We're actually more like a guy in Chicago or some other major city that works a lot there. We're more like that animal than we are the true Hollywood animal. So tell me about the types of budgets and the range of budgets that you're working in now.
The range of budgets, so the main range in production design, because interior design has its own set of
Right.
things, but it's interesting because some of my rates are different for different people. You know, I still have old friends that we'll do cheaper rates with, but
Sure.
I would say that the average commercial art department, just for the art department, is like $40,000
Yeah.
for the art department,
Yeah.
up to $100 on some of the
Right.
big union shows, or even more.
Right.
And then film, you know, has its own budgets, which are less, you know. And then feature, you know, I don't do a lot of pilots anymore. Mostly my bread and butter are commercials.
Commercial,
Yeah.
sure. That's where it's at. And you know, it's funny. I know anybody, the students out there in John's class are hearing those numbers, and they're, you know, it's like the commercial with the blue puff of, you know, they blow their minds. But you don't keep all that money.
No. A lot of the money goes to the, you know, building the sets and things
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
you need to do.
Yeah, but it's a big budget item. A
Yeah.
set is a big
And you can
budget
make money.
item.
I mean, you know, you can make, my normal day rate is between $700 and $1,200 a day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working on a 6-day shoot, 10-day shoot, you're
Yeah.
soaked. Or, you know, you have, like, for example, this week I worked, you know, you probably have the same problem as I do. Everything rolls together.
Yep.
Like, it's so jumbled in your head because you're going from you're all in on one thing. Once it's gone, you're all in on another thing. And like, I can't remember what I did
Well, it's
5
like
minutes
the
ago.
question is, where'd you work yesterday?
Right, exactly.
Give me a day, I'll think of
Right.
it. Yeah.
So I was just I was doing a HP
Okay.
shoot yesterday.
Sure.
It was a 1-day shoot, but I was on for 5 days for
Okay.
a 1-day shoot.
Yep.
And then this
Because
weekend,
you were buying, you were designing, you were building,
managing, and you know, putting it all together.
Mm-hmm.
We had to build some sets, and so I had a set company that I work with that was building the sets and transportation and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm doing a thing for Power Bar, and
Mm-hmm.
then next Friday I'm doing a thing for Speedo, and they all kind of overlap. The creative kind of overlaps. So
Yeah.
you know, you're making serious money, but you're all in. Like, some days you can actually triple dip to
Yes.
you're working and prepping a job that's
3
like
different
a week
jobs,
out.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you know that you have prep days. So, I mean, it could get, but with that money comes a little bit of craziness. And then you go
Sure.
home and you're supposed to be a husband and a father. And
Yeah.
you're like, I got all these things going on. So it's difficult to put in perspective sometimes.
You know,
but
that
it's fun.
It is fun, and I think either you or I could not live any other way at this moment. You know, and you know, the thing is too is like I go home, it's hard to turn off sometimes. You know, my beautiful wife is waiting for me there, and I'm just thrilled to see her. But what do? I'm on the phone now. I'm texting somebody or emailing back for something they wanted, and I've got to take care of it. And we both know if you don't do it now, it's only going to get bigger and badder.
That's one thing I've gotten better about is the texting. 'Cause
really?
I just don't like.
You just
I will
don't do
not,
it.
and I try to shut down after 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And I get back, and because I'm up at 5:30, so I'll return all that stuff early in the morning. So unless it's urgent, I've kind of trained people that that's my time. And that's what I miss from the old days. I mean, we never were reachable 24/7 back in the day.
No,
and that
no.
expectation now is like, you're on the clock. Yeah, I'm on the clock from a normal day.
That's right.
Unless the fire is burning and it's an emergency.
Yeah.
It can wait.
Right. No, and that is the thing that I have not trained myself well enough. I'm doing too many things, obviously, as I love to do. But I need that action. I need that kind of stimulus. One thing I want to talk about, we'll talk about your interior design, but two is we are doing a workshop together. We are doing a workshop on January 22nd. And the name of the work, Aaron was so nice to help me out on this. And he's going to, it's a twofold, really, because we're talking about lighting the backgrounds for interviews. And that, to me, is something that's so important. One of the things I do, Aaron, is when I'm lighting an interview, I'll bring the key light, the fill light back. I'll bring those out. I'll set them on set. I'll plug the key light in, turn it on so somebody sees a light burning, right? The rest of my time I spend lighting the background because there's two things that are going to happen. One is you don't have the real face out there to light yet, so you don't light the interview first. And secondly, when that talent is sitting in the seat, no one is going to let you touch a background. They want you totally focused on the talent. And so that I've learned to approach it that way. And I know you are all about the background, and the background is so important, just to put it in context of everything you've been talking about here. That delivers the message. That creates that environment for the message to get delivered and hit home emotionally.
Absolutely. And I think that I'm going to do a shout out to the students that are watching, because back in the day, Bernie, the production designer got top billing. Not the DP.
Yes.
And so here's a little bit of information. If you built a great set, you could shoot it with natural light. But if you have lighting and no set,
hey, what do you got? What do you got?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to represent for how important. So thank you for saying that, because it is. But it is a team. The whole team makes everything come together, and everybody's job. And when something's missing, you lose that Academy Award by just that much.
That much.
Something was
That's
wrong.
someone just going, I didn't like that. Nick, real quick, any questions out there? We're all good. Nobody's got any questions. Okay, we covered it all.
I got
Paul,
a question.
I know you do. Go ahead.
I want to hear the answer to Bernie's weekly question, because he's been talking about all the things he has done and how he's been able to overcome everything, every obstacle. Just sure, I can figure it out. Bernie's got a great question.
What has been your biggest hurdle?
Biggest hurdle.
Describe a time when it failed.
Yeah.
What did you learn from failure?
I don't fail very often. And I have to say, because one of the things that I wanted to say is that you have to solve problems. You have to make the best decisions when you can. Like if something broke right now, we would have to
fix it,
put it together or something, like with a rubber band or paper clips. I mean, I don't know. And that's why, if you say pressure, I felt tremendous pressure almost every time I do a job. It's all self-inflicted, pressure. And it's the same whether everything's going perfect or if something breaks and you have a panic attack. But I can't really remember one thing.
Way back when, even when you're beginning and you'd say, oh boy, if I could go back, I know what to do now. But then I didn't know how to handle it. It broke,
I would say,
melted.
And it's, I know you guys want me to talk about the production design stuff, but it would go back to Knott's Berry Farm when I was so creative and I came to one of the top people and I gave him a whole list of all these things that could be better. Well, we could do this and this will get more people to do this, and this needs to be better and this needs to be better. And he looked at me and he said, you're not going to be here very long. Because your head is just way not suited for this. And I was so crushed. I was like, I worked so hard on this. So, I mean, I think that's a good example of if I went back, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. That is amazing. Aaron, thank you so much for being with us today.
How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah.
You could go to my website at conceptdesigngroup.com, which is recently being revamped right now.
So what is that?
Conceptdesigngroup.com.
And that's with a K. With a K. So conceptdesigngroup.com with a K.
Or you can email me at aking@conceptpro.net with a K. KONCEPT pro.net. aking@conceptpro.net.
Couldn't you make it a little longer?
I could. It could be You've Got It Productions with a U. Apostrophe VE. Crazy thing like that.
Okay, very good. And do you want to give a phone number or anything? Is that valid or just better through the
email
website?
Me. Yeah,
email. Yeah, got you.
Email's the only way the phone rings.
Yeah,
right.
That's nice. I like that, Paul. That's going to be my new motto. Aaron,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you,
brother.
So much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
It's great to sit down and talk to you sometime offset. I don't think we've ever done that.
We didn't even have a beer. Now we'll have to go for a beer.
Give us the info for Bernie. How do we find Bernie?
Oh, Bernie at berniesgripandlighting.com is my email, or berniesgripandlighting.com, and also San Diego Grip and Lighting, Bernie at San Diego gripandlighting.com and San Diego gripandlighting.com. Also, I have Los Angeles gripandlighting.com. So those three companies you can find me at, and of course Facebook, Craig Bernie Burns, and Bernie is always spelled with a U. Good. And 714.
He spells it with a K, you spell it with a U. Everybody's got to be different.
Got to be a little different in this business. And my phone number is 714-609-3545.
And when does Onset U launch?
Oh, Onset University is probably at this moment in time, and we're very close, is going to be probably the first of the year, January 1st.
Okay, there you go. All that and more. Thanks, guys, for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cut. That's a wrap.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything: your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret, with 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality